Welcome to the Nebraska Hawk's Nest. These guys are brave! They're Hawkeyes, living in enemy territory. Listen, these guys are way past their prime, but they're still Hawkeyes! They're spreading the Hawkeye hype to all of Nebraska. The frost advisory is canceled! Cornhuskers? More like corn shufflers. Are you ready for this podcast? Let's go Hawks!
All right, welcome back to Nebraska Hawk's Nest. Make sure to give us a like and subscribe so you can see all of our updated interviews that come through along the way. We don't typically have Iowa State fans or anyone with Iowa State affiliations on here, but we had to make an exception for the man, the myth, the legend, Carson King himself. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty darn good. I'll be honest, man, it's an honor to meet you for all the great things that you've accomplished in such a young life. You've done a lot of really cool things. So you just got to say, admire the hell out of you, man. It's pretty awesome. But want to start out at the very beginning. We're going to talk about, you got a cat in the house?
I do. I got a new puppy too. So they're having
a war right now. That's all good, man. That's part of pet life. That's
right.
I know how that goes. I have the same problem with my kids, so I get what you're going through right now. It started out when you were thinking about making this sign. Okay, College Gameday is coming to town. Hawkeyes are rolling through, playing Iowa State. Very, very big moment. I think the country's starting to finally realize that Iowa State rivalry, one of the best rivalries in the country. And it's about dang time they figured that out. So bringing College Gameday to town, I'm sure Ames is hype. You know, people are excited, fired up for the game. You get there super early. Tell me about your thought process and what you were thinking when you're making this sign. What were your goals here?
Oh, man. So it was like, I don't know, 10 o'clock the night before. Obviously we kind of found out game day was coming to Ames a little late because I think that like their original plan was to go to like Syracuse, Clemson or something like that.
Yeah.
And they decided, I think Syracuse lost, so they decided to come to Iowa and Iowa State. So like at 10 o'clock the night before, I went over to Walmart. I got a $1.19 poster board, and I already had the Sharpie. And I was like, it might be kind of funny to bring a sign. All my friends were all originally – this is Ames, by the way. It's my dog. We were all originally going to
he wants to be a part of the interview. Bring him on in. That's all good with me. I'm fine with it.
There we go.
That's a cute dog.
Thank you. She's 11 weeks old. We were all originally going to be Ames.
Oh, good Lord. You could have done a hell of a lot better than that. That's too cute of a dog.
Perfect. We were all going to bring signs originally, and then everyone backed out. They're like, oh, it's just going to be a pain in the butt carrying a sign around. The weather might rain, stuff like that. And I was like, it might be funny. I mean, best case scenario, someone behind me sees it and sends us $20. We've got a case of lattes for the game. Yeah. And so, went over to Walmart, got the sign, drew it out in my terrible third grade handwriting, scribbled it out on the poster board. Then pretty soon we got to game day, and 4 a.m. and we were too late. There was no way we were going to be by the main stage. There were just thousands of people packed around that thing. And we looked over in the corner, and there's this little circle stage. So we stood by it. We thought, we might get to see David and Maria do an interview in person. That might be kind of fun. And pretty soon the entire game day crew came to us. So you could reach out, and Kirk Herbstreit was right here. He had a bright, maroon jacket on. It was sick. It was awesome. And, it held up my stupid little sign and was on TV for a few seconds. People thought it was funny. And, I thought that was the end of it. Right after they left, like 15 minutes later, they sent, I got a text from my parents and stuff. They were watching, like, oh, we saw it. And my buddy Tyler he was right there next to me. He's like, who keeps blowing up your phone? It's like, someone's really trying to get a hold of you. So I looked down, it wasn't text, it was my Venmo notifications. And I had over $400 in my Venmo account within like a half hour of being on TV. I guess people saw it and they sent money to it, which we didn't think would happen. And we were like, oh, this is going to be a great night out on Welch. This will be awesome. We're going to buy some rounds for everyone in there. It'll be a good time.
Oh, yeah.
And they just kept going. Then I think within the hour we had $600. And I was like, I think I can do a little better than my buddy's nice good night out on the town. So decided I want to send it to charity. We didn't really know when or where. So, we just put that in the back of the mind. After the game day filming, went back to the tailgate. And by that time we had $1,600 sitting in the Venmo account. So I called my family and I told them what was going on. And was like, hey, this is what I want to do. What do you guys think? And we all decided on the Stead Family Children's Hospital. We picked the Stead Family Hospital, obviously, because, they impact people all over the Midwest and the country. I mean, it's not just a University of Iowa thing. I mean, there's plenty of people who, go to Iowa State that have been there, and people that, have family, just everyone, they help out a ton. Plus, obviously Kinnick has the wave, best tradition in college football. So we wanted to, have Iowa State's little nod for this, I guess. And it kind of, it was cool to bring it all together because it's Iowa and Iowa State coming together for a good cause. So we decided we're going to send it there. Made some posts on the old social media, and it just kind of took off. I mean, it was really quickly that we got a lot of money.
I remember I saw your sign when I was watching Game Day, and I'm like, all right, the guy's taking his shot. Good for him. That's cool. And then it's like it blew up, and we're like, geez, you remember that guy that had to sign up for the beer? That's the dude that everyone's talking about. And then, as it starts blowing up, then like all of a sudden later we find out, and he's a Cyclone fan, and we're like, shit, like, oh, come on. Like, I thought it would be a Hawkeye fan, but no matter what, it's still pretty cool. Walk us through the progression of how that money grew, because it didn't just end there; it just continued to accumulate and grow and develop. Tell us about some of the process of that happening.
Yeah, so I think it was that following Sunday. I got a phone call from one of the local Des Moines radio stations. They wanted me to be up at like 5 a.m. to do an interview. So I was like, okay, yeah, cool. I mean, this is kind of fun. I've never, done an interview before. This will be something interesting. So we did it, and I don't know who was listening, but right after that, I mean, it took off. I had phone calls from all over the country asking to do radio interviews about the fundraiser, asking for newspaper and magazine articles and TV, like news stations and stuff, asking for little blurps. And it was overwhelming, to be completely honest. I mean, we didn't think anything cool would come from this at all. Like, I thought, if anything, I'm just going to piss a lot of people off that are standing behind me because they can't see the stage. Yeah. And then it turned out, I mean, people liked the idea because it was just a grassroots, genuine thing that, just kind of spanned from a joke, and how simple something like that can turn into something impactful for a lot of people. I mean, I think, yeah, we had phone calls from Anchorage, Alaska, from Orlando, from New York, from San Diego. I mean, it went as far as there were people from Australia contacting me about it, the Philippines, Brazil, all over the place. It was it was something.
Yeah, one of the articles I read, I looked, and it was from an Anchorage newspaper, and I was like, really? Like that? Yeah. Interesting. So I'm going to tell you, so nobody's listening. It's just me and you. We're just me and you talking. There's no one streaming this or watching it on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook or anything. So you can just talk like it's two guys here. At any point along the way, did you ever, even for a second, think, shit, what could I do with this money? Like, I'm going to hold on to this. I know you don't want to say you did, but human nature says otherwise.
Actually, no. So I thought, once I dedicated it, I mean, there were points in there where I was like, oh, this is going to be a ton of money. Is this a good idea to just send to one hospital? But that's really the only thing that I could think of. I think there was a point where Cedar Rapids news station wanted to come do an interview for me, and I didn't want to drive clear out of Cedar Rapids because I live in Altoona. That's like an hour and a half drive, 2 hours.
Yeah.
So they wanted to meet in Williamsburg. So I went to go meet him in Williamsburg. I just paid my student loans and my mortgage and my insurance, and I didn't have enough money in my bank account to go get gas. So I'd borrow money from $20 from mom and dad to fill up fill up the old beater and drive over there. And at that same time, I had over $500 in my Venmo account, and my friends just ripped on me for it.
So, okay, let's be hypothetical then. You just say in a different world, you were going to keep the money. What would be the one cool thing you would have spent it on?
Oh man, that much money. I think I'd pay off all of my family's loans and anything they owe, their house, their cars. Then I don't know. I'd probably invest, honestly. I think if I had that money again, like just from working, I'd probably invest in some local companies or something like that. I think that'd be, go on a vacation somewhere. But honestly, this was the best thought I could have for it, was to donate it to people in need.
That's awesome. That's to say that's a high character move is like the understatement of the century. So that's pretty awesome with the world that we live in. And, 2020 being the crappiest year of all time, looking at your story is something that brings a really bright light onto humanity and, and doing the right thing when nobody's looking. Everybody was watching, but you could have done whatever the hell you wanted with it. And you chose to do something pretty awesome. Wanted to really talk to you about being able to see footage of some of these kids in the hospital that are struggling and that are, not all of them make it and are feeling terrible. To know, deep down how much that you were able to affect their lives, their families' lives, and, impact all those kids in the hospital for what you did. Tell me about how that makes you feel inside, because I don't think many people through the course of their life would ever be able to have the type of feeling that you have.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in need out there. And just growing up, I'm obviously from a small town here in central Iowa. Growing up, our values were always, help out those who can't help themselves. And, you might not live the most perfect life, but it's better than a lot of other people. I think my parents instilled that in my brother and sister and I from a very young age. So to sit back and kind of step back and think about exactly, all those kids that are in there fighting for their lives. And, obviously kids get scared. They're not stupid. They know what's going on. They know there's something wrong with them. The parents having to be so strong for them for whatever they're going through, whether that be if they're, in there for premature babies or they're in there for, cancer, just anything. The parents have to be the stone, the foundation for that. And they look and they see their kids struggling, and that's just unbelievable on them. It's an incredible feeling just to think about just helping one person. Over $3 million. That's a lot that can do a lot of good for a lot of people. And it's a very humbling experience. It really is.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's fantastic. Words can't really describe how big of an impact that you made. And there's a special place in heaven for guys like you, man. That's freaking awesome. The only thing that you're going to have to answer to is when your dog's up there with you, he's going to be pissed off that you named him Ames, and you're gonna have hell to pay.
Hey, we got her on the right side. We joined the light side. We left the dark side. So.
Okay. All right. We'll have to just agree to disagree on that one. But I think you're the one figure that's like an Iowa State fan that all Hawkeye fans love. So that's the cool thing, is like you're kind of sitting in the great spot. Like if there's anybody that can unite two fan bases, you're the guy. All the Iowa State fans love you because you're a great dude. You're a Cyclone. But then like you're the one Cyclone that all the Hawkeye fans are like, he's a Cyclone, but he's a pretty legit dude. He can hang with us. So that's got to be kind of cool too.
I think one of my favorite pictures that I have is I think it was the Middle Tennessee State game in 2019. I got invited to. That was my first time ever going on the field. I got to do the wave. it was unreal. They brought me down on the field, and I got to stand on the sidelines. The Ferentz family, they took care of me, and I heard, Carson coming from the corner. And I looked over in the student section. There were a bunch of students in the front row that had my name across my name spelled out across their chest. And I was like, this is so cool. And I mean, it was like a yellow out or something.
Yeah.
And I'm in my bright red pullover. I go over there and I took a picture, just jumped on the side of the stands with them and took a picture with all this sea of red. And there's just one random Iowa State dude sitting there. And it was a really cool experience. I mean, I got to meet a bunch of the players and stuff out there. And I mean, everyone, obviously, footballs and sports, that's just a fun thing. And, the rivalry is just fun. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all there for a good cause, and we're all there for each other because we're from the Midwest, and we take care of our own.
Speaking of taking care of our own, sounds like you a pretty cool thing you got to do. What did it feel like having your face on a beer can? I mean, that's pretty badass. Like, not too many guys can say they've had that.
No.
You were able to have your face on a beer can. I saw you kept some of them, and you guys drank a lot of them too, which I totally understand. Tell us about you're involved in a beer company / project right now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So after that whole fundraiser and stuff, my friend Glenn Cole, he was out at Geneseo Brewing in Illinois at the time. He wanted to do an Iowa Legend beer and send all the proceeds to the hospital, which was a really sweet idea. So he did that, and I got one of the last cans around. It's sitting here underneath my entertainment center. That was really sweet, and it was really successful. They sold out really quickly, and obviously that helps both that brewery and the hospital and the different causes. So we thought this might be something that kind of has some traction later on, especially with my whole fundraising was just because I like a good brew every now and again.
Oh yeah,
and I think there's a lot of people that do. So we got to talking. Oh shoot, middle of last year, I guess, and wanted to do something again. And so, but this time, he wanted to make the recipe from scratch. So he sat down, and Glenn, with one of his mentors from Munich, they brewed the Midwest Legend beer, and he was at Midwest Ale Works this time, but. It's really cool. It's all the proceeds help out the derecho victims, and obviously we're gonna, after that's starting to get taken care of, we're gonna redirect it to impact the most people possible. It's really good. It's a blonde ale. It's freaking delicious. I might be biased, but I think it's my favorite beer I've ever had.
That's a cool can too.
It is, and all the label art on it. This is actually from Molly Emerson, who I believe is from Iowa City.
Okay.
All the label art, it was taken by local Iowa and Midwestern photographers that what the Midwest means to them. So they just submitted a bunch of photos, and then any brewery around the country can do it. I think there were like 19 right now in Eastern Iowa, Illinois. There's one in Virginia. Anyone can do it. It's all open source marketing. You get discounts on the recipe, on the label work, all that cool stuff. So it's been a neat project, and we're hoping to expand. I got some cool stuff working in the central Iowa area with a couple of big breweries. So hopefully we'll get more out on the shelves. But for right now, it's just tap room specials.
You're making me a little thirsty right now. So I think maybe we should cheers it up and have a beer together.
We'll do that.
Yeah. Cheers, man. All right. I got to try one of those now. You sold me on it. And so if somebody wants to buy one of these beers, where can they get it?
So right now, a lot of the ones that they already made, they were selling out so quick. I know you can still get them at Midwest Ale Works in Moline, Illinois. And that's, I think that's the only one that you can still get at, other than that Virginia brewery. So I don't even know what that one is. But any brewery can do it. There's a website. It's midwestaleworks.com/fundraiser. And they can sign up. They can see everything. They get discount on ingredients. It's all open source marketing, label work, canning, everything. So you get discounts on the ingredients, which is really cool. So you can stick to it. But everyone's encouraged to put their own twist on it. Okay. So it gets to showcase kind of the creativity of the breweries. I know Torrent and Ames, they did a fruited ale type one. Geneseo did a pumpkin spiced one. Let's see, was it Twin Span and Bettendorf did an all Iowa products. So everything that went in there is from Iowa.
Cool.
So that, yeah, just pretty cool thing.
That's an awesome idea.
So if you know any brewers in Nebraska, there, Western Iowa, let them know. They can brew it and sell it. It's really good stuff.
I actually do know a couple, so I'm gonna have to have some conversations here, and they're Husker fans, and they can't be reasoned with sometimes. So
Hey, I
I'll
know
do
how
my
that
best.
goes.
I heard too there was a beer flavored ice cream, something like that that was made in honor of you. Tell me about that. I don't know a ton about it.
So I'm from Prairie City. That's where I grew up. Born in Clarinda originally. Moved up to Prairie City when I was really little. Graduated from there. There's a little ice cream shop and tenderloin shop called Goldie's.
Okay,
Um, if you're ever in the area, I strongly recommend going to Goldie's. It's delicious. Best ranch in the country is made in house and at Goldie's. Best tenderloins around in Iowa ever. It's good stuff.
that's saying
But
a lot.
Brad, yeah, I know it, man. I've eaten a lot of tenderloins, but I don't think you can ever top a Goldie's tenderloin and their signature Goldie fries. I'm hungry now. Um, but yeah, Brad, the owner, he wanted to partner with one of the local breweries out of Newton, actually, and they donated a bunch of their non-alcoholic beer. It was a Pilsner, and they had a beer flavored ice cream, and it was delicious. It was like
Really?
just like kind of a malty, hoppy ice cream, and I mean, having it you could do it like in a float or just an ice cream cone. It was super good, and they send all the proceeds from all of that to the hospital as well. So it was a really neat thing. They did it again this year, sold out really quick. So it's an experience. If you've never had beer flavored ice cream, I'd recommend it. It's a good change from chocolate and vanilla.
I'm gonna have to try it. I'm not a huge ice cream guy normally, but I would any chance I can have to try some beer flavored ice cream. That might change the wave for me and make me an ice cream guy. That's pretty darn cool. Wanted to ask you too about something that not quite as fun. When the writer for the Des Moines Register, I believe Aaron Calvin, when he decided to try to dig up anything he could on you from back in the day. Now, if we all turn the microscope on ourselves, every one of us has said stupid things, especially the younger you are. You just say stuff like you don't think about it. You just are young and dumb. Adults do it. Senior citizens do it. We all do it, but we do it joking around, not thinking that, somebody's going to come back and pull that up and shove it in your face someday. After all of the great things that you had done, and why all of this stuff, why everything was going on about with you raising money for the Stead Children's Family Hospital, when this came up, walk us through a little bit about that process, and because you handled that with so much grace and maturity, and you handled it better than just about anybody else would have. Walk us through all of that.
Yeah, I was actually at work when I got the text message from Aaron, who was really good guy when I met him, by the way. I mean, he was sweet dude. He messaged me and said, "Hey, I found some inappropriate tweets. It looks like they're quotes from Tosh. What do you think?" Obviously, when I was a freshman or sophomore in high school, retweeting, a comedian on Twitter, I didn't think it was offensive to anyone. I just did. I thought it was funny, edgy humor. They were stupid jokes. They were offensive. So I thought, well, good thing to do is be an adult and be like, hey, I made a mistake when I was younger. I thought this was funny. It's not. This is who I am now. It's grow and you learn.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to take ownership for it and kind of held a little press conference thing just to, let people know what was going on and take responsibility. And it got out of hand. It really did. That was something to experience, because a lot of people got really, really upset with the Register, and then a lot of people, they dug back into Aaron's Twitter, and he had a lot of really not good stuff on there.
Yeah.
But it just gave people a chance to kind of look back at themselves and think, well, times change. Social media is super important. I mean, honestly, the fundraiser wouldn't have gotten as big as it is without that event, because we were at $1.14 million total when that happened. And within the next couple of days, we hit $2 million. And then, within like 4 days after it, we hit 3 million. I think it gave people a chance to look at themselves and look back at what they're doing and, see growth and understand growth and how things change and how careful we have to be on social media. I know it gave me an opportunity. I mean, that's not bad. Only one tweet for my entire lifetime on social media. I mean, I think I'm doing okay. Yeah. But I mean, it gave me a chance. I go around to schools and businesses and I talk about social media and the powers of social media, the digital footprint, how good and bad it can be. I talk about small acts of kindness and how one person can make a difference. And it's, it really, I'm not that much older than a lot of the kids in high school and stuff. I mean, that wasn't terribly long ago. That was 8-9 years ago for me. So, it is what it is. You grow and you change and you learn, you become a better person. And that's kind of part of the journey of the human experience, is becoming a good person and learning from your flaws, learning from your mistakes and correcting them. I mean, if you're going around and you're doing all this dumb stuff and you're not changing it, well, you get what's coming to you. But when you grow and you learn and you move forward, I mean, that's what it's about. Hold yourself accountable and look back and, change for the good. And I think that's important. I mean, especially when you're younger and you're growing up, like when people first learn to walk, when little kids are learning to walk, even when they're falling, you're cheering them on, you're cheering when they're trying to take those steps. It's all about the trying. And at a certain point, the trying's not good enough. It's the end result. And that's, it's just kind of weird. It's part of the journey.
I think that's why the Des Moines Register got so much backlash for a lot of reasons, because I think all Iowans saw a little bit of themselves in you. And we're like, all the conversations I had with people were like, shit, if somebody looked back at everything that I'd said on social media over the years, I'd be raked over the coals. And it's like, yeah, everybody kind of understood. And it's like, this guy puts himself out here and does something really cool for the betterment of society and humanity, and especially for children. And we're trying to dig up dirt on him. What the hell? So it put a bad taste in everybody's mouth. And I know the Register has gotten a lot of backlash from that. And, they have to answer to it. So we're not going to bag on them here. They got to answer to their own actions. But tell us about the positive side of that, because I know that had to have been tough having some, some sponsorships and people kind of back off and for public relations reasons wanting to distance. But then you eventually had some new sponsors step up. Tell us about some of those.
Yeah, well, during that whole journey, Busch Light pledged to match whatever came in my Venmo account, and Venmo did the same. When all that came up, Venmo's first response was, people make mistakes, but look what's going on now. And we weren't in it for any type of sponsorships or anything like that. I mean, I'm still working a full-time 9-to-5 job. I mean, I was just trying to pay back my student loans and work full-time, get work experience before I could go back to school. So I don't think it really had anything to do with the sponsorships for me. But there were a lot of cool connections I made. I mean, people stepping up as far as the craft community with Geneseo releasing the Iowa Legend beer in its place. So my face got on a can. That was really cool. There were a bunch of local businesses that were kind of doing the same thing. They were just kind of stepping up and being like, hey, this is weird. This isn't right. And so they wanted to step up and, kind of fill the void that was left. And they did, and they stepped up. And at the end of the day, I mean, the local Busch Light distributors across Iowa, they kicked in the final like $42,000 or $46,000 to push us over $3 million, which was the goal. So, it was a corporate thing. I mean, everyone on the ground level, they were all, they understood and they saw growth and they saw betterment of the community. So they went with it.
That's fantastic, though, that it was able. That cat was looking like he was ready to pounce on you from behind. So you better watch your back there. I wanted to get your thoughts, too, since you kind of experienced a little bit of this. We're going through a lot of this cancel culture movement. And I wanted to see what your thoughts are on all this, because you experienced a little bit of that. And it just seems like, anytime anyone puts themselves out there anymore, you get slammed for stuff, and you can't really say anything or have an opinion anymore because you offend somebody. Do you have any thoughts on that whole movement and how that's been going?
I think it's a slippery slope. I mean, holding people accountable for their actions is important. That's how you grow and you learn. But at a certain extent, I mean, like it's where do you stop and where do you make that line, draw that line to make it
Yeah.
be, when it becomes too much. Um, I don't know. As if someone is obviously learning and growing from their experiences, and it depends on the timelines and everything. Like, I know Kevin Hart got in some trouble for some jokes he made that were, kind of anti-homosexual, and obviously they weren't cool. But he grew and he learned, and he was canceled for a little bit for that too. I think it's all about the steps. And if they take the right steps to get to better themselves, then, it's kind of a good thing. But if it's just you don't give a chance to change, you don't give a chance to grow and everything just stops, I don't know what good that's doing for anything.
And it's not. I look forward to the day where all of us, regardless of race, sexual orientation, religion, or anything, we can just flip each other a little crap and be okay with it. That's when that point comes, which I don't know if it ever will, but I hope it does. That's gonna be a good day. And I'm hoping this whole cancel culture stuff just comes to a halt at some point, and we can be able to be people again and not have to worry about stepping on someone's toes every single time somebody says or does anything. Also too, you have something called the Carson King Foundation, and I want take a moment, tell us about what you got going on with that.
Yeah. So the day of the donation, one of the reporters there that was asking me questions, she said, "What's next for Carson?" And hi. I didn't know. I was just planning on going back to work and just having a normal life. And then I kind of stopped and I thought, well, I have a chance to kind of do something good with this. I have a decent amount of notoriety and, a decent amount of pull with some people that I've met and became friends with. Why don't I try to use this for good and help other people? So I made some phone calls and we started the Carson King Foundation. We launched it on Super Bowl Sunday of 2020. Picked a horrible time to start a nonprofit right before COVID, but we made do. Our very first fundraiser was for mental health services across Iowa, which was really important because a lot of people, they didn't have their physical outlets. You couldn't go anywhere to do stuff. I mean, it does take its toll on you mentally just being cooped up inside all day. I mean, I hated working from home. I need people. I need interaction. So I know that was playing on a lot of people. So we did a T-shirt fundraiser to help a couple of mental health resource centers around Iowa. We raised over $40,000 in like 3 weeks selling T-shirts, which was mind blowing. We split it up and made over $10,000 donation to 4 different mental health resource centers across the state. There was Wabansie Mental Health Resource Center in Clarinda. There was NAMI and Please Pass the Love in Des Moines, and the Blackhawk Grundy County Mental Health Resource Center out in Blackhawk and Grundy County. Then, we just kept getting donations. We kept kind of just spreading the word, trying to help out. I was involved with a lot of other nonprofits, and I still am, just, doing events and helping with fundraising. And, I've met so many great people on this weird 2-year journey that I'm able to kind of use my knowledge and use my connections to help others and kind of give, some nonprofits and some charities and organizations that do a lot of good stuff a platform when they wouldn't necessarily have it in the first place. Just kind of raise awareness. I did a campaign where I went around and I interviewed families that stayed at the Ronald McDonald houses across the state of Iowa. And for people that aren't aware of what they actually do, I mean, you always hear like, oh, Ronald McDonald House, right? Pop tabs. Yeah. Well, they give families who have kids in the hospital a place to stay free of rent, free food, free board, just free toiletries, just so they don't have to worry about that. They don't have to worry about taking the time off work. They don't have to worry about finding a hotel, paying for a hotel, paying for food. It's all right there provided for them. And it's really important. It's such a great resource because I am not a parent. I've got 2 nephews that I love dearly, and I couldn't imagine what it would be like to watch them suffer and have to worry about that and then worry about all this extra stuff on top of it as far as, food and shelter and stuff like that. I think it'd be heartbreaking, and that just takes the weight off those guys' shoulders. And it's, that's really important. And then the derecho happened, obviously, which was devastating all across the Midwest. I worked for a roofing and remodeling company that my brother started, took my nickname. And we were out in Cedar Rapids a lot, working with roofs. We were tarping, we were patching, we were doing anything we can to help these guys. And looking around the community, you saw thousands and thousands and thousands of people taking their own time, their own resources, their own money, their own generators, their own food and water, and helping each other. So we did it. We wanted to embody that. We did, Iowa Nice. We did the Iowa Strong T-shirts, and we sold those across the state, and we raised over $75,000 in 3 days to send to communities and organizations that were helping with storm relief. We're just basically, we've just been kind of see a need, fill a need. It's just me, and I've got 3 other board members, and everything's completely volunteer. I pay for the website, which is our only overhead, out of my own pocket. It's just $30 a month to GoDaddy. And we're just kind of building our own, foundation, so to speak, on the right foundation. Just growing with what we know and what we're learning and what I know and the people I've met, and just kind of taking it slow. I sat down, I designed the logo myself. I sat there on the computer. I'm not a graphic designer. Found that out. It's really hard.
It is hard.
Props to those guys.
Yeah.
I just wrote out my logo in 12 hours on the computer. The hand is a nod to the wave, the Reds for Iowa State. And if you look, the pointer finger's connected. That's because that's kind of a nod to my grandparents, who are a massive influence in my life that are no longer with us. They kind of taught me the right direction. So that's kind of my nod to them. And it's in kind of a paint hand style because, well, I like helping kids and families that with sick kids. And, that's just kind of my nod for that. So we are growing, and we're new, and we're taking any opportunities to learn and just kind of do things the right way. And like I said, we're completely volunteer because, well, I don't like that if I donate $1 to some charities that, 50 cents of it goes to admin fees to pay for things. We don't do that. We don't donate when things get taken out for admin fees. So we've been kind of getting this little power position where we do fundraisers. We can decide exactly where it's going to go, just like we did with the Children's Hospital. We picked out what everything's going to go to. We didn't want any admin fees for anything we do. So it's kind of for our size, it's perfect. It works great. Obviously there's a lot of charities that, they employ people, and it takes a lot of time and resources and manpower to be able to run efficiently. But we're small enough. There's 4 of us on the board. We're small enough for a grassroots operation. I think 90% of our funding comes from everyday people that just, send $20 or something off their paycheck, or they sign up on our website and they give monthly, just small amounts. Everything adds up. You saw that with the hospital's fundraiser. We had people donating anywhere from 5 cents to $5,000, and everything added up. There were over 30,000 people that banded together across all 50 states to help for one cause. I think people really see an opportunity to help. They're going to take it, and they're going to want to do best, even if they don't have the most funds themselves. Well, a lot of times the people that want to help the most, they can't really help themselves either. So just small amounts, grassroots, I think that's kind of a big thing. That's going to be a growing thing, especially during the times we have now of just grassroots fundraising, taking the initiative yourself and doing your work and helping.
You've clearly done just an absolute insane amount of things over your young life to help out, humanity in general, whether it be all the things that you've talked about. It's endless. The one thing, though, that I think everybody out here really wants to know about, on top of all the things that you've done to help out thousands of people across the great state of Iowa and throughout the Midwest, is how has this exposure positively affected your dating life?
Oh, well, so when all this happened, I actually had a girlfriend already. So
okay.
It was really interesting. I was getting some dating resumes sent to me through people's parents. There are people contacting my mom, sending full resumes, basically, of their daughters, being like, "Hey, could you set them up on a coffee date?" I was like, I am such a non-public guy. Like I am so laid back, and I'm just, if we're out like at a restaurant or at a bar, I'm the guy that's in the corner booth with my friends, just talking at a normal level. I'm not yet, it's been nuts. But I have a girlfriend. I've had a girlfriend since Well, I'd say October. She's great. She's an Iowa Stater, so she's got a good head on her shoulders, and
Oh man.
she's great. She's actually involved with a lot of philanthropy stuff too. She's one of the board presidents for the Salvation Army out in Ames.
Okay.
So it's neat. We actually met through work. So
All right.
it's cool.
Well, last thing I want to leave with is I always like to find out whenever you get a diehard fan, how did you become a Cyclone fan? And I have a lot of respect for Cyclone fans because you guys have had to endure more than your fair share of frustrating seasons and losing. And I think you guys just went like 0-15 in basketball in the Big 12 this year and had to fire Prom today. That was Prom, and I think he's looking for a new job. And it's not easy being an Iowa State fan. If you're an Iowa State fan, you don't pick them because they're a winner. And I think that kind of goes with Iowa too. But Iowa State's a really tough school. Could be a tough school to root for, but the fans show up in droves and they're loyal as hell. What was it that made you decide to be a Cyclone fan?
So I grew up a Hawkeye fan. I like the Hawks. I really do. I still do. I still cheer for them. I grew up a Hawkeye fan, and all of my friends were Iowa State fans. I was the weird one in my friend group. It was, that's just how it was. And then I think it was my freshman year of high school. One of my friends bought me their Cyclone Club Pass, which are the little seats they give the kids that are on the hillside.
Yeah.
I fell in love with it. I really did. Just the atmosphere, the tailgating. We walked around campus. So we were just high school freshmen walking around on Iowa State's campus, just looking at things. And I loved it. I loved the people. I just loved all of it. I mean, the whole experience just really turned me and kind of flipped me. Obviously, I have a lot of really good memories with Iowa. I mean, Kinnick Stadium is gorgeous. The tailgating there's, second to none. And the fans are just awesome. But I just fell in love with Iowa State and decided that's where I wanted to do my schooling. And
yeah,
it just kind of happened, I guess.
Tailgated in Ames is a good time. Like anybody that hasn't had tailgated at Jack Trice, I can tell you, I've been to almost every Big Ten stadium in the country and some other ones on top of that. And as far as tailgating goes, Jack Trice would be, if they were in the Big Ten, it would be toward the top. It's a blast. And the stadium, just like the parking lot is right there. I mean, it's not split up all over the place like Kinnick. There's a big parking lot by Kinnick, but Jack Trice, you got everything like boom right there. And so everyone's pretty close to the stadium and it's a party. I mean, it is. You guys do know how you might lose the game, but you never lose the party. I'll tell you that.
That's right. We always have fun no matter what. And it'll look even better. They're doing a bunch of additions to it. So like they're having a walkway that goes across University Avenue so that you don't have to wait at the red lights and the traffic can keep flowing. Okay. And then I don't know if you've seen the plans, but they're planning on between Jack Trice and Hilton, they were planning on turning that into kind of like a power and light district. So
wow,
there would be restaurants and bars right there.
Wow.
Which would be a game changer when it comes to tailgating. That
would be fun. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not super excited to play you guys this year. You're going to have a really good team again. And if you guys can keep Matt Campbell after this season, you might be able to keep him for the long haul because there's going to be a lot of people writing some big checks to get him out of Ames.
Mm-hmm. I think with what he's built, I mean, it's more than just coaching and the money for him. Honestly, it's like Kirk Ferentz. It's more than just the coaching and the money. It's about the legacy you're leaving behind and the people you're helping and just the community around you. And his entire staff is just, he built it. I mean, he loves Ames, his family, his kids go to school there. I think he's staying. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think the only place he would go is either Ohio State or Michigan. And I think Michigan is because I don't think he got an interview the last time they had that coaching spot open.
Okay.
I feel like he might possibly do a Michigan just to kind of throw a jab or something. But otherwise, I think he's an Iowa Stater.
I could see too, maybe if a really good NFL job came open, something with a stable franchise. Cause
he's turned him down. He's turned him down already.
Yeah. But he's turned down jobs like the New York Jets. Like that's a dumpster fire. Like you're going to go there, be the coach for 3 years and get fired. Like nobody has won there in decades. So he's smart. That's this whole thing. He's smart about not just taking a better job, just to, a bigger job just because it pays more. He's going to put himself in a position to win, and he loves Ames. Like, he clearly loves Ames. He's gotten emotional about it in press conferences, and he loves Iowa State. So it's going to take a fat check and a really good situation for him to leave. So, but if he doesn't, I think it's great for the whole state of Iowa. It's great for the Cy-Hawk rivalry, and he's an awesome coach. I don't think there's many better in the country than him. He's definitely, in my opinion, a top 10 coach in the country. So you guys got a good one with him. So, and the state of Iowa, we got a good one with you, Carson. Man, you've done some awesome things in your life, and just sounds like you're just getting started. You got a lot more ahead of you and a lot more cool things to come. And I wanted to thank you for taking time to come on Nebraska Hawks Nest and tell us a little bit about your story and everything that you've accomplished and what you have going on and that little zoo you have going on in your living room.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a cute dog, and we're animal lovers over here too, man. So we totally get it. But hey, man, have a great week. And we normally end this with a Go Hawks, so I'm not sure how we do this. Like, I don't know.
Go Clones. I mean,
okay, you can
go state of Iowa. Yeah.
All right, go state of Iowa. Okay,
go state of Iowa.
All right, we'll do that. All right, man. Thanks a lot. It's great talking to you, and hopefully we'll get to chat again soon.
All right, we'll see you then.
All right, see you, Carson.